Hello everybody, it's a day late, I'm sorry, but I was so tired last night I couldn't even bother to do it. Blame me, blame everything else, but I'm here, and I'm now ready to go at it. Elimination Chamber is only 6 days away, and we know that this pay-per-view will effectively make you decide whether you want to buy WrestleMania or not, because every WrestleMania match in virtue will probably be set up slightly at this pay-per-view, whether it be a backstage segment, whether it be in a match, whether it be interference in a match, anything can happen. But the one thing that has popped up a lot on wrestling sites in the last year is the idea that WWE backroom staff have had of removing Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, and doing a new cage concept. A new cage variety match of some kind. Now, as any wrestling fan will say, it's obviously going to have to be War Games because it's obviously the one cage reliant thing that was existing that they have never done. Unfortunately, they can't because it's a WCW thing, and you know what Vince is like with WCW related things. However, we have a WrestleMania coming up in WCW's back garden. No better idea than to stick a War Games match for good old measure. However, in obvious opinion, Vince knows what he's doing. It'll sell, but he knows it'll just break his whole code of convention. When you look at the matches that we have in the WWE in a cage variety, they are quite old. The Elimination Chamber is nearly 10 years old. That is right, you just heard me, it's 10 years old nearly. And that was at Survivor Series 2002. That was probably the snippets of that was my first ever pay-per-view watching of any type of thing that WWE and wrestling ever did. So, that fact is, it's just amazing it's been that long. Hell in a Cell's been around since 1997. That's 14 years. Steel Cage has been around since the 1920s. That's nearly 100 years old. You can look at these three main cage variety matches in the WWE and you can see that. But when they were first made, they were promotional powerhouses. They were psyching fear into everybody, thinking, oh my god, if I go in there, I'm going to get absolutely crucified. But the thing is, in recent times, there has obviously been a slight problem due to the introduction of gimmick pay-per-views, where that has been the sole introduction. They've been used at least once a year with no real emphasis on it. Well, there's been emphasis, but there just hasn't been fear-inducing emphasis of it just coming out of the blue. You know it's coming. You know it's there. And the name just doesn't fit a pay-per-view, per se. Money in the Bank does, but that's another argument for another time. All I am saying is, the promotional power of big cage matches has lost its muster in the last 2 or 3 years, I should say, 3 or 4. And I will say this: the WWE actually has a firm point about thinking about putting another match in of any cage variety, because it'll in turn freshen up the concept. You could make a giant cage about this high or whatever it is, and create something new. Put 10, 15 guys in there. Make it an absolute brawl for survival. Imagine making it one pin only in that situation. You'd be absolutely mad not to think that you would not be able to predict a winner out of that. I mean, even in the six-man Hell in a Cell back in Armageddon 2000, Kurt Angle won it, and no one expected that. That was carnage, for example. What about a fatal four-way steel cage match? Last person left inside the cage is fired. Put some variety on these matches. Make them a little more special, because they're now so common that they just don't feel special anymore. And in that case, this pay-per-view may not sell, because there's only 3 matches: Lawler versus Miz, and the 2 Elimination Chamber matches. One for the world title, one for the chance to face Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania. No, wait, that's completely wrong. It's actually for the World Heavyweight Championship, which Edge is holding. You see my point? That is the only thing a pay-per-view can ride itself on. You're a bit screwed. And the thing is, if there was something different, if there was some niche about this pay-per-view that could get people interested, then that would be fantastic. The roof would be slightly more wider so they could have a chance to literally jump off the top of the damn thing. Imagine that. If the steel floor could be broken through. Knowing how much they've done that with ladders in recent times, I think that could be an easy thing to put there, mind you. someone being put on the side of the chains, and then have someone choke slamming them or something like that through the top of the chamber pods. They got so many ideas to beef this match up. Put more people in it. There's only 6 people in. You could put another 2 chamber pods at least. But then that would block up everything, I suppose. Or have 4 people start the match and have an 8-man chamber. They could freshen the idea of this up. Steel Cage, Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber could all be refreshened. But no, they haven't even done that. But when you look at a new concept, I thought of one up years ago that probably could work. Say this, you've got a Hell in a Cell, that's just basic. You've got the cell structure, pretty damn good. Have 10 people in it. And you handcuff 8 of them to the outside. It's technically like a prison. They're not going to get in, and the guys inside aren't going to get out. 2 people start the match, pinfalls, eliminations, you know how it goes. Every 5 minutes, 1 person's let in. It just keeps going like that till they're all in, and only 2 are left. Then, a championship in the match gets hung from the top of the cell. Ladders have then got to be put in the match, and then they then grab their belt to get freedom out of the steel prison. I thought that up about 5 years ago, and I think it's a damn good idea. You can fit a lot of guys in the match, you can add a Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber rules, and ladder match all in one match. So imagine that headlining a pay-per-view. That would be shocking. It would provide a shitload of spots outside and inside the ring. Plus, I would pay good money to watch it. I think you all would pay good money to watch it as well, if you like that kind of violent, enclosed space, holy shit, spot fest wrestling that I do like, as well as technical ones. And therefore, in that case, what are your ideas? I know a lot of you out there in the wrestling world who somehow watch this video that you have ideas of what a cage match of any kind could be. You have an idea in your head that goes, ooh, they could do this to a cage match and make it better. They could do this to a chamber match, make it better. Do it to a cell match, make it better. They could add it to war games, make it better. What are your opinions on it? Put it down there. Put the comments down there. I want to hear your ideas. Because this is a subject which has been rolling over in my head without any solid conclusion for a while. I want to see if I can find that conclusion. So in a way, does there need to be a match? Some ways, yes. Because of the non-importance anymore, there needs to be something to make this type of match genre important again. But if there isn't any idea of replacing it, if there's a way of replacing it, make it better. Make it larger. Make it more intensely terrifying. And it'll be something great for the WWE wrestlers of the future to be in. You never know. It could be done. They could come up with something awesome. They could come up with something shit. I don't know if they actually are going to get rid of the Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, to replace it with something new. I want to see if that does happen. And I hope you all do as well. And under the process of thinking about the Elimination Chamber, I ended up watching practically all of the Elimination Chamber matches in the last week to try and believe and belittle myself to figure which is the best one. And I have had it whittled down to at least 2. Simple as that. And I had to watch them both tonight over again to make sure I knew which one I was going to go for. And I think there is the obvious ideal of the first one will always be the best, and therefore there is no hope in trying. That's right. It can be said for the ladder match, in a way. It can be said for TLC, on that rare example that you believe TLC 2 is better than TLC 1, but I digress. The first ever, you see my point here, the first matches, first Hell in a Cell, that people believe that's the best one. So do I believe the first Elimination Chamber is the best. Why? Let me get you down to the detail. First, all 6 guys in that match, Booker T, Triple H, Kane, Rob Van Dam, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, all 6 of them were big main guys on Raw at the time. Even though now in the Elimination Chamber you've got 2 or 3 big main guys, two under uppercard guys who are in the mid card, and 1 potential jobber mid carder to fill it out. This was a match with 6 main event talents in it. There was no mid card, even though Jericho, Booker T, RVD, even at the time, just after a championship feud, Kane was in the mid-card. They were not classified as mid-cards to wrestling fans like you and I. They were bloody big guys, and they were able to carry the match. To be honest, It was perfect. Triple H starting it. It made it you think, oh, he's not going to make it through it. Easy. Then, of course, Rob Van Dam jumping off the top of the cage pod, jumping off the rope onto the cage, staying there, and then jumping back off. That was innovative. It's never been done before. I've seen Mysterio attempt it before, but fuck it, RVD made it look insane. Then you also had people, Jericho and Michaels, being thrown through the plexiglass. That had never been done before. That was slightly bettered a year later by Goldberg spearing someone through it. The match just had an eerie sense of feeling about it that I look at the other matches and think 2005 New Year's Resolution was the only one that came close. Because, like I said, the talent was big, and Michaels as a special guest referee, and it had a blood-boiling feud between every single person in it. That made that one intense in itself. But I just look at it, and JR said at the start that basically we have no idea of no idea of what this match will be like. You'll have to bear with us. That was the thing. This match, I mean, I know the Hell in a Cell was just a cage which was separated from the ring with a roof on top. That was literally Hell in a Cell. This was a new animal. This was in Madison Square Garden, which the arena scope was round and big to make you look at this thing and go, wow, this is massive. You normally think the Hell in a Cell's big. Take a look at this thing. It's just the scope of it was absolutely immense. And the fact that the eliminations took a long damn time to happen made it even better, because you were rooting for these guys thinking they could win, and you went from back and forth thinking, oh, Booker T will win, oh wait, RVD will win, Triple H could retain the title, and it just kept going back and forth, and I didn't think Jericho would last that long. But then again, thinking that he had a feud with Shawn Michaels at the Rumble makes a bit more sense on that point. Yes, but the thing is, the match, everything about it was, even when it was slow, you still felt you were in it. You were rooting for them. Nowadays, if it's slow, going, here we go, this guy's going to dominate for a while, then he's going to, this match started it all. And they may always say, oh, the first match was obviously the best one. In this case, it was. 2005 New Year's Revolution had a bit of an added twist in the fact that the championship was also vacant. That made it better in that case, on the title department. But when we looked at what Shawn Michaels did, the ending as well. Seeing Triple H carted on Batista's shoulders in 2005, we'd already seen it. Shawn Michaels winning his first title, the crowd was going nuts, confetti in the air. JR's emotional commentary that when I watched it earlier, I had a tear in my eye. I was that invested. You see, the first of a match is obviously the best because you have no idea what to expect. You have no idea what to believe could happen, and therefore, whatever happens, whatever these guys will do, will get applause from everybody in the audience. And that is why Survivor Series 2002, the Elimination Chamber, the first one, is the best. End of story. And that is it. I am once again apologising, guys. I did get this out late, and I am very sorry, and I hope this does not happen again. In the next week, I have these videos. I have the Elimination Chamber predictions on Saturday. I'm going to be watching the pay-per-view on the Sunday. Anyone want to go on MSN, chat with me? Go on Facebook if you can find me. Easy. Then, on the Monday, I will, morning or evening, depending on whether I'm that asleep, I will give you my reviews, results and views. Then, after that, I have Wrestling Rant 9, which I will talk about, if I can scroll down, why stables are necessary, and why tag team wrestling has declined. And then after that, I will go on to my next, a week later, I'll go on to my next of my 15 Minutes of Fame series, which I was going to do on the PG rating. That is now being pushed back, because I'm realising I need to tackle something better, something more in depth than that. The IWC as a whole. That is, I'm looking forward to that, because not only am I going to be slating the internet wrestling community that I felt I've become a part of, I'm also technically going to be slating myself, because would you consider me part of the internet wrestling community with me being on screen right now, talking to you about this stuff? I don't know. That's your opinion. If you like anything of you've heard me say, if you want to hear more in the upcoming weeks and months about me and my wrestling rants, click up there on the subscribe button. You want to say something about this video, anything I've said, click down there in the comments section. Like the video, round about there. I will see you guys on Saturday. Have a good week. Bye.